Hi, I'm Caroline Mitchell, Canine Behaviourist at Good Doggy. So we all know the value of having days off in our own lives. We don't work 7 days a week at our jobs, and our kids don't go to school 7 days a week either. And there's a lot of value to taking days off and having nice breaks between working and not working. The same is true for our dogs. But when we sometimes get started on our behaviour and training plans, we can be super enthusiastic, and we plan to do training as much as possible because we think that if we do training 7 days a week and we do lots and lots of it, that we'll get to our goals much faster. But actually, the opposite may well be true. So taking a rest is good for some obvious reasons, but some are less obvious than others. So for example, a dog that is reactive or has anxiety problems, that will continue to stack. That takes its toll on our dogs day after day after day. So if you're working on reactive or anxious type behaviours and you do that 7 days a week, your dog's not going to get enough time to rest his mind, decompress, and freshen himself up for the next day. So we talk about overwhelm a lot, and overwhelm is what happens when our minds get clogged up with too much stuff. And it doesn't have to be bad stuff, it can be good stuff. It's just experiences, thoughts, and things that are happening throughout the day. And if we get our minds too clogged up, that's when we reach overwhelm and our brains become much, much more reactive. So this will work against us when we're working with our dogs. So let's take a day off, have some fun, go to some fun places, have a really easy, restful, relaxing day. Avoid anything that might be triggering or anything that might cause anxiety in our dogs. Just a pure avoidance, happy, easy day. Freshens that brain up, clears it out, ready to start afresh. We also know that taking a day off is really good for productivity. We know that lots of studies are being done constantly all over the world at the moment about the benefits of doing a 4-day week over a 5-day week. And some studies have actually shown a 40% increase in productivity when employees actually do less time at work. So a 4-day week is really beneficial over a 5-day week, and this will apply to our dogs as well. So having an extra day of rest can make the actual work that we do with them, when we do it with them, much, much more effective. We're working with a dog that's fresh, full of energy, ready to learn, enthusiastic, and that dog then will take on much, much more of what we're doing with them, and it will make the time that we spend with them much, much more useful. This isn't just the case for our dogs, of course. Some of these tips are also the same for us. When we work at the same thing over and over and over, day in, day out, we feel the same kind of fatigue that our dogs do. So when we come after a day off, fresh to the training, like our dogs will be fresh to the training, then both of you are going to be working at your absolute best. And if you're both working at your best, then you're going to get even more out of your sessions. There's another reason why you might want to take a day off, and this one maybe isn't so obvious. So when we take breaks from learning, we give ourselves time to forget some of the stuff that we've learned. And that might sound like a bad thing, but actually it's really not. Once we've forgotten some things that we've learned, we have to force ourselves to remember them. And that action in our brain of forcing ourselves to recall something that we know helps that information go into our long-term memory. So when we do that often enough, that becomes something that we'll be able to recall forever. So I think about things like when we are learning our own phone number, when we're kids. I'm showing my age here because we never used to have phones and address books and things like that on us. We used to just remember the stuff. But you would constantly be forcing yourself to remember. And people of my kind of generation will probably still remember their first ever phone number. And that was why, because you were given time to forget it. You forced yourself to remember somehow, and it ended up there into your long-term memory. And this is great for our dogs training because we want them to form long-term habits that are going to be with them forever. We're not teaching them short-term things. We don't want them just to know a new command or cue just for a few weeks. We need them to learn these things and their training be available to them forever. We lack enthusiasm when we do the same thing over and over again. When we're training every day, doing the same kinds of training, we become really tired of it, become bored of it. So To avoid overtraining, taking days off, even maybe every other or every third day, is ideal. And you'll know if you need to do this because you'll find that your dog loses focus when you're training after a couple of days. Maybe he starts to refuse things, and not necessarily the training itself, it might be things connected to the training. So maybe your dog is refusing to get his harness on. Maybe he's giving you the run around in the house because he doesn't want to get his lead on. Maybe he refuses to walk past the car because he knows a car walk is a fun walk, and a past the end of the drive walk means training in the park. Or perhaps he just feels like he's just forgotten everything. You keep sort of making progress, and then all of a sudden all that training is lost. He's forgotten everything you've taught him. So these are really good indications that your dog is struggling with constant overtraining, and he needs to take some days off. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Please do like and subscribe to follow my other videos, and I'll see you soon. Take care for now. Bye bye.